Welcome to Chok Muay Chats, episode 7. I'm Joe Comerford, former fighter, commentator, and quasi Muay Thai journalist. I'm here with Pinky, all-round good guy, global cornerman, I would say. He's pretty much cornered everybody in the world. One of the few foreigners, one of the few Westerners in the world who can actually do Sak Yant. He can read all the language, has studied it for multiple years, and generally just an interesting character. So thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you very much for that introduction. That was nice. Better than the first take.
So if you like this episode, please like, subscribe, and share amongst your friends. So Pinky, the first thing I want to ask you is, how's your trip been?
It's been great. Usually pretty hectic trips anyway. There's not much downtime, which last time I came with the fam. Time before I came with one of my mates, and it was his first time over here. So we literally didn't stop the whole time. This time I've managed to, roll out of bed at 2 in the afternoon a couple of times and stuff, which is good. Lots of fight shows, lots of Sak Yant, and yeah, literally within a week of being here, I sort of go back to my old life.
So it's good coming over here just to do the things that you enjoy, like the things that you're interested in.
The things that I can't do in Australia. It's like those two things, all the fights all the time and the Sak Yant are the two things I can't do all the time in Australia, so I try and milk it while I'm here.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So speaking of fight shows, what are some of the shows you've been to?
I've been to 2 ones. I went to Super Lek Rottung the other night.
Oh, wow.
Next night I was at RWS. Then Thursday I was at Pet Yindi's closed doors show. Then once again one championship last night, and then tonight's RWS again.
So you've been to quite a few entertainment shows and also a traditional 5-round show.
Yep.
If we go and have a look at those in comparison, what do you think is your favourite show out of those 3 that you've been to?
Definitely the Pet Yindi show.
I thought that might be the one.
Everyone knows I'm a traditionalist, man.
Yep.
But it has honestly been so long. It's been probably 4 years since I've been to a proper 5-round show, with, border closures and all that sort of stuff. Last Thursday night was amazing. Going back there and the gamblers going off, and I haven't experienced that in so long, man. I didn't realise how much I missed it too.
Yeah, it's interesting. I normally ask that question when guests come on because, most of the guys that come onto this podcast, the guys that, like you and me, who have been in this sport for over a decade, and we're much more traditionalist than the newer fans.
Yeah.
What do you think is special about 5-round Muay Thai in comparison to entertainment Muay Thai? So when we say entertainment Muay Thai, it's 3-round Muay Thai. It's not scored the same way as 5-round stadium Muay Thai. What do you think's special about that in comparison to entertainment?
I think, everyone looks at it like, they only fought for 2 rounds, and there's so much strategy in the first 2 rounds. 5th round is normally, a minute and then they're done, which is okay, whatever. I think the number one thing for me as in 5-round shows is the atmosphere. I like the length of the fight. It's not over and done with. It's not a sprint, so it's prettier. There's a lot more pretty and a lot less, chin on the chest going stuff.
Yeah. I would agree with that. When the when you look at entertainment Muay Thai, and in my opinion, I think entertainment Muay Thai really took off with Max Muay Thai or
Tough Fight.
Yeah, or Thai Fight as well. They really pushed the rule set to be more aggressive.
No backward steps.
No backward steps. Whereas if you look at stadium Muay Thai, it's much more of a chess game. When we talk about Muay Thai being a chess game, we're really talking about stadium style. Yeah,
5-round, any fight, even in the Western world, 5-round Muay Thai, unless you're in some states in Australia, there's the 5-round Muay Thai is still played out, easing into it, you're picking up as the rounds go on, and
I think it's an interesting paradigm, when we talk about...
What does that mean?
Paradigm means when we difference in division of ideas.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
So like the interesting paradigm between Muay Thai in the West and here in Thailand is that entertainment Muay Thai is being pushed more.
Yes.
But back in the West, everybody wants to fight.
Isn't it funny?
Yeah,
Isn't it funny?
It's funny how it's gone full circle.
Yeah, it has. I think the overall recipe right now is quite good. I don't know if you saw the other day I posted on a story saying 2023 is the biggest year for Muay Thai in Australia ever. Crazy. What can we get in 2024 now? Like, it's actually nuts.
No, I mean, like, you look at the Rebellion 8, man, that we just had.
Oh,
look at the names that are on there.
Yeah, man. What a show for us to debut on, hey?
Yeah.
That was our first Rebellion.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so that was pretty sick.
Yeah.
But, like, that with people's goal is to, whether it be they want to go RWS or they want to go one. I don't think it has to be one or the other. I have my preferences and I'm pretty vocal about it. But I also understand why people like what they like. And that's up to everyone. You'll never convince me that, the little gloves are good and that, not doing your Y crew before the fight is okay. And you'll never convince me of that stuff. And, I prefer RWS over one. I like the more traditional side of it. But there's a pinnacle now. There never really used to be a pinnacle. You used to just be, you're under your promoter, you were fighting on their shows, you're doing your 5-rounders, whereas even the Thais now, it's like, why am I going to do 5 rounds with the risk of, getting beaten by gamblers if I don't do the right thing, when I can fight 3 rounds with no official gambling as such, like, not the online stuff. And, I think it's something for the Thais. They're more comfortable. Do they put in as hard as they do when there's that much risk in the 5-rounders? Definitely not. They're never as fit. They're not coming to it as fit as, man, they'll go into the final of an RWS tournament, like, half-assed. It's pretty sad. But I think you talked about, so I'm running away with this, but you talked about it with Bank.
Yeah.
How the foreigners are, like, taking, everyone's saying it now. The foreigners are growing at such a pace that the Thais are either not going to change and they're going to lose it all, or they need to step up and gyms need to start being a little bit more accountable for their Thais being lazy.
Yep. Yeah, I would agree with that. It's interesting looking at the level of foreigners now, and they're just...
And foreign trainers.
Foreign trainers,
That's impressive, man. Like, I don't know before me, and then, like, Nugget coming to elite boxing after like I was training people. I don't know if don't know of anyone before me that was doing it. Actually, there was one Shuki Rosenwig from Rompo Gym. He was training people as well, but it never used to really be a thing. Whereas now it's grown.
Especially in Thailand, like
yeah.
I mean,
I started doing it in 2010. Started training people out of elite boxing. I think it was maybe 2011. I started training people out of there, which was sort of unheard of, and now that is more acceptable now. Don't get it ever wrong. Like, Thais don't love foreigners. Yeah. Thais are Thai. Thais are very, very Thai. But the fact they're opening doors for people like us.
Yep.
To you do your media thing, and if I was living here, I'd probably still be a trainer. Me doing the trainer thing or whatever. It's actually pretty cool. Yeah. Like, shows that they're developing to be way more accepting of, and not. I feel they used to despise us, But I feel now that the foreigners are being way more respected than ever.
And I think that's got to do with it becoming more of a global sport.
Yes.
As well, they can see the value in having us around and trying to take it global. Because, if it does become global, it means more money for them, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean...
More money for everyone.
And people need to not kid themselves about, the beauty of the sport and over-romanticize. Like, at the end of the day, it's sport, it's money.
Yes.
Money is sport.
Oh. And when yes, as a fighter, you are never getting rich. Yep. Like, don't lie to yourself.
Yep.
Not yet, anyway. Maybe one day. But at the end of the day, it's business. And no matter how little you're being paid, to be a professional, you've got to act professional.
Yep.
And I think there is money. If you're invested in Muay Thai and you want to be in Muay Thai for the rest of your life, there is money to be made. And way more now than ever. So don't get it wrong. Oh, man, people are just doing it for the dollar. Man, everyone's doing it for the dollar. everyone who's no longer a fighter, if they're still in Muay Thai, they're not just doing it because they love it.
Yeah.
They're doing it because it's a living, you know?
Yeah.
It's something they love doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I mean, what do they say? Find something you love and you won't work a day.
Man, that's literally my life, bro. Literally my life. I do Muay Thai every day. No one tells me what to do. I've got an understanding wife who's amazing to me about it. Like she supports my dream as well. It's the best. I literally don't have to work. And I get to hit people without getting charged. It's fantastic.
Dude, that's rough. But it's true.
It's true.
It's
I mean,
true.
like, I'm punching and kicking people every day. Like, it's I get to punch and kick my wife at the gym. It's cool, you know. Like it's living the. Oh, that sounded really bad, but you know what I mean. Like,
yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
And I think everybody else will know what you mean.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
like, get to live. You get to share that experience with the person you love.
Yeah.
That's not a lot of couples. You know, it's interesting that we go down that route because a lot of couples don't have that. They can't share the same passion for something. And, I mean, it's an interesting thing to see because you see people, for example, like Don Miller and Pui, you know, they're heavily invested in the sport. Andy and Art. You know, there's a whole bunch. The Farrells, the Fighting Farrells, you know, who are both fighters and are able to share that
and both
passion.
as invested as each other. Yeah,
Exactly. It's a beautiful thing. And I think that's something special about this community and this sport especially is that, you know, like you can actually do that. You can share the sport.
I think the biggest part about that though is because there's not a heap of money in it.
Yeah.
It hasn't built that bravado, that ego up in people that's like, yeah, like I'm someone. Like no one gives a crap that you're a Muay Thai fighter or a Muay Thai trainer. No one cares except for people in that scene.
Yeah.
So it's like you're not just a celebrity who walks down the street and gets people going like, oh my God, are you Pinky? Yes, I am. You know, like it's...
Yeah.
So it attracts more people to it, especially like, you know, wives and stuff. They're not intimidated by it because it's not Mr. Macho Man.
No. It hasn't got... It's not boxing either.
No.
You know, that's it.
Or MMA.
And I think also people, like, need to remember that as well. And I've spoken about this on other podcasts, is about... In Muay Thai, you need to check your ego.
Oh.
Because you're not anybody special.
No.
Like...
You're nobody in this world.
I mean, it's not $1 billion rugby industry.
No.
It's not, hasn't got the sponsorships. So you need to check your ego. You're not anybody special.
Yeah,
I'm not anybody special.
No. None of us are.
Yeah.
And I'm special to myself. Like, and that's another thing. Even just being in the Muay Thai, you got to love yourself.
Yeah.
To get anywhere in it, right? But I think that's where the ego thing comes in because it's these. They're trying to make up for their lack of confidence.
Yeah.
So they're missing something. Maybe they might be the best in the world, but they, you know, maybe they were mistreated by their dad when they were younger.
Yep.
You know, and if you can't get past that, you're gonna be trying to make up for it with something else, which is the ego bit.
Yeah.
And it's sad. And at the end of the day, ego, no one gets their best potential with an ego.
No, I mean, if you want to look at it from the spiritual side, right? Like my university background is studying religions.
Oh, cool.
And you look at all religions, and one of the biggest teachings is let go of your ego. It's the biggest inhibitor to growth.
Everything.
I mean, like I would say you're Buddhist, right?
Yeah, I practice Buddhist teachings. I wouldn't call myself Buddhist.
Okay,
yeah.
All right. So practice Buddhist teachings, and one of the biggest teachings of Buddha is, you know, let
detachment.
your ego, detachment of your ego.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's if people are in this sport, and I would say that Muay Thai is a Buddhist sport. It comes from a Buddhist tradition.
Yeah.
You need to let go of that ego.
Yeah.
You know,
and I think that's. I think that you're going to start seeing more egos coming into it because of there is more money now, and it's, you know, people are trying to make that bravado, like the MMA, because everyone looks at MMA and goes, how do they make so much money?
Yep.
All right, let's you know, like it's one of those go-tos. You know, you probably saw recently the Jay Tonkin and Cody Trey stuff online.
Yep.
Man, I thought that was great.
Yeah.
I thought it was I thought it was funny. and I knew those guys thought it was funny. They let it down at the last minute by doing a live and saying how much they respect each other. They should have kept it going right through to the... If you're going to play that game, and there is room for it, not all the time, and not always the same person.
No, that's right.
But hyper fight up every now and then and make more money for the promoter.
On episode 6, Kieran and I spoke about this, there's in Muay Thai, there's always room for a villain.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
And you know, there is room for a villain, but you can't... Not everybody can be the villain.
No.
Kieran spoke about you have to be your authentic self. So, for example, like he used David Penapede for an example.
Yep.
He's not somebody who can be the villain.
No, because he's a lovely guy.
He's a lovely, quiet guy. But if you're an extroverted, out there guy, always on social media, you're more likely to be able to be the villain.
Yeah,
because you're comfortable.
We kind of spoke about that earlier at lunchtime with like me sort of interested in going into the media side of things a little bit more.
Yep.
Because I'm a villain as far as, you know, pretty outspoken. I don't mind upsetting someone.
Yep.
And the polarizing thing is what makes it more attractive. So people go, oh, I like listening to Joe. Oh, I like listening to Pinky. Yeah, sweet. There's room for everyone, you know?
No, that's right. And I mean, if you look
Same as fighters, sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or even just general media, right?
Yep.
Like you look at like guys like, for example, Joe Rogan. I wouldn't say Joe Rogan's that much of a polarizing character. He's got some people say controversial views, but then you might take somebody for example, like who's that guy who does InfoWars?
I can't think of
the guy.
I know who you mean. Yeah,
the fat American guy. He's a very polarizing character.
Yeah,
and there's a place for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. Because it's whoever. You know, it's what you're giving. It's the information you're giving, and how that is seen by people. So some people like to hear the guy that tells someone they're absolutely instead of going, man, you're not quite good enough.
Yep.
You know, like someone. There's both. You know.
Yeah. Exactly. I wanted to go into a little bit about Sak Yant.
Yeah.
Because. It's a thing that I'm seeing a lot more. It's a much more of a common thing seeing it on fighters now. It almost
Muay Thai stickers.
Yeah, Muay Thai stickers. It almost seems like it's a rite of passage now. if you want to,
I have so many people hit me up and ask me how many fights they have to have before they can get a Sak Yant.
Really?
Yeah, man.
Really?
That's probably my number one question I get.
Yeah. So I'm not slagging on people because my whole back's covered and I've got them all over the place as well, and I got them when I was fighting, which was my outlook on it was looking at. I researched a lot when I did it, and I was also studying religions at the time. I did it as part of the Muay Thai journey.
Did you go to Ajahn Lak?
Yes.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So I went to Ajahn Lak, who, if you don't know Ajahn Lak, he's a Ajahn Sak. Ajahn means like professor or master in Thai. So he was a guy in Sydney who was doing it at the time, a Thai guy. So that's where I got all mine from. How did your journey start with?
I just had a fight and broken my ankle in Phuket. And actually, the first time I ever saw it was on One Lop Sitpolek. And I was like, oh, that's pretty sick looking tattoos, eh? Like, didn't think much about it. And then I'd had this fight, broken my ankle, and in the gym, who was letting me stay there for a few days before I came back to Bangkok, next to the gym there was a tattoo shop, and the tattoo artist was a South African guy, and he had it all over his chest. Like, really, like what my back looks like, all faded and like really old looking stuff, you know. And I was like, oh, how old are those tattoos? He goes, oh, about 4 or 5 years old. And I was like, whoa, they look. And he's like, no. He goes, like, you know, the ink's like, it's poked in with a stick. And I'm like, oh, right. And then I remembered I'd seen it on Born for the Fight, that documentary.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, that's what okay. And then I started getting, like, intrigued. Started talking to the Thais about it because I already spoke Thai at the time, or a little bit, enough to, you know, get around. And one guy in the car park who was one of the maintenance guys in the apartment block next to where I lived, he heard me talking about it. He goes, I can take you to my Arjan. And took me to his Arjan. It was like, by the time we got there, I think it was about 3.5 hours by like public transport and stuff.
Yeah.
I was on a budget as well, and it kind of worked out. And then got my first yunt, and then I didn't get another one for probably a year and a half or something. And then I met Ajahn Thai, and it just, I ended up just going there every day for a long time.
Yep.
Even if I wasn't getting yunt, I was there like holding skin for other people to get it. And yeah.
And where's he's based in Klong Toi area?
On Nut Soi
on
Nut Soi 25, wrong language, sorry guys.
Yep.
On Nut 25, Wat Tong Nay.
Okay, so, I know the temple.
Yeah, so he back then it was very different as well. Like, all the needles were just like the big solid piece of steel with a split through the middle of it.
Yep.
There was it was rags wiping the blood off, wet rags, and you go and wash all the blood out, and then you on everyone 30 people a day.
Yep.
Same needle straight out of one person's back into the next. Very different back then. Very different.
Yeah, it's a lot different now. Where they use they still use the chem or the long prong.
Yep.
And they put tattoo needles and change it. It's a lot more a lot safer and a lot more hygienic now because a lot of foreigners.
Yeah.
I think really Angelina Jolie was probably the person who made it popular.
Yeah, for sure. That's why everyone loves the 5 lines. Yeah.
The Hartel, right?
Hartel, yeah.
Yeah.
So the tattoo needle tip, I'm not a fan of it. Like I'm not much of a fan of how it turns out. I'm very like Muay Thai, bro. I'm a traditionalist.
Yeah.
Like I prefer this dotty mess on my arm here.
Yes.
Than I do to like that picture on my leg. Sorry to knock the mic.
Yeah.
That I got done was done with like it's like the tattoo head, like the shaders they use for lines.
Yeah.
And then they do the writing with like a 5 or 7 needle tip. Yeah. Outliner. Yeah.
Yeah. Most of mine, I think actually. All of mine have been done with tattoo needles.
Yeah, you can tell. You can tell. But
you can see that
they're way longer lasting. Honestly, like they stay sharper for longer.
Yep.
Whereas with the big fat bit of steel, it bleeds out under the skin really quickly. Not really quickly, but like if you look at this arm here,
in comparison to up there.
So, but if you look at this, the day I got it, even you can see the difference there.
Yeah.
So I had that bit done before that. So that's probably 2 years older than that.
Yep.
And that's probably about 4 years old. But when I first got it, the lines were so thin and sharp. It bleeds out. There's a lot more ink goes in, so it bleeds out a lot more. Whereas this will stay looking like this for like 10 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
And do you think, now, just going back to that idea of like a rite of passage, do you think fighters should really do their research before they get in?
Everyone should.
Yeah.
I have way more people come to me to get Sak Yant who aren't fighters.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they come with some knowledge every time.
Yeah.
Because they want to get Sak Yant because it's something they've researched.
Yeah.
There's something they heard about, so they've looked into it. Fighters come because they saw another fighter with it.
Yeah.
And definitely, you need to do research. You're going in blind. You're taking some risks. Like if you don't know what you're doing to look after yourself and look after the yunt, it can end badly for you.
Yeah, I mean it's a really interesting thing because there's particular yunts for different types of personalities, stages of your life. I think I was telling you before that I got the 4-head Hanuman on my back. That was the first one, and it's known as a really powerful yarn.
Yeah.
And I wasn't aware until probably about a year later that if you drink alcohol, it can bring out some really powerful emotions. Yeah, I mean, it's something you really need to research.
Yeah, for sure.
Because these things can affect you.
Yeah, there's certain ones that I got, like I just turned into this, like, angry man. And then I was talking to one of my Arjans about it, and he's like, oh, why didn't you tell me? Gives me another yunt, and like it changed.
Yeah,
it changed. It made me react differently to things.
Yep.
Made me so much more focused and stuff as well. So that there's such a broad and trying to. I'll tell people like Arjan Matt Reid in Shepparton, Victoria. his knowledge and the way he talks about it is so much better than me. I learned everything in Thai without translating it in my head. It was when I was living, I started learning it when I was living here, and for those who don't know, I speak pretty good Thai, and I learned everything without a translation in my head.
Yep.
I don't know the words in English for a lot of it.
Yeah.
Whereas Matt learned it in Thai, but to get his understanding, I think his Thai goes into English in his head, I can still think in Thai. When I'm in Thailand and I'm conversing in Thai, there's no pause, It's
No.
So,
just fluid.
Yeah, so everything I learned was in Thai. So I struggle to articulate the meanings of stuff, and I say really, for health and well-being. It's...
Yeah.
Whereas
I get
Ajahn Matt he's got the word. He knows how to explain it.
Particular knowledge.
Yeah.
That you're able to translate it in an articulate way.
Yeah. Come to me and I'll give you what you need.
That's an interesting topic. Speaking about language, right? One of the things I think is really important, if fighters are going to make the move out here, they put the effort into learning the language.
Game changer.
Yeah.
The biggest thing with being here is just know something.
Yeah.
If you show, they're going to laugh at you. Thais will always laugh at you. They think it's hilarious, but you need to be willing to be laughed at. If you actually want to be respected and be accepted is the biggest one.
Yeah.
If you show you're putting some effort in, they might not speak Thai to you. They might not care about speaking Thai to you. I still come across it.
Yep.
But I have a bit of an ego thing where it's like, my Thai is better than your English. Can we just stick to Thai, please? Yeah. And I'll say it,
Yeah.
I don't, it's not about shooting them down. It's about, I'm more comfortable speaking in Thai. I'm more comfortable speaking in Thai. I'm good, bro.
Yeah.
I'm more comfortable speaking in Thai than I am speaking to someone in really bad English.
Yeah, I think it's really important for people to make an effort out here. And it goes for anywhere in the world.
100%.
It really transcends your experience.
Even in Australia, bro. In Australia, it's such a multicultural place. Man, any of the Greeks that come in my gym, they get greeted in Greek. Yeah. Any of the, all my Muslim students and stuff, man, I greet them the right way. I think just showing respect to people who aren't like you is important.
Yes, yeah.
Absolutely. It makes them feel better, makes people feel comfortable. They then, you speak to a Thai and you're trying to speak. This guy's putting some effort in.
What are some tips, do you think, for people who want to learn Thai? And
I will straight up say it's almost impossible for some people.
Yeah.
Because it's so tonal. I think the only way to really get how to say it, there's no way of writing it down and explaining. You've just got to try and mimic someone's. Some people are tone deaf. Yep. Some people are just crap.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest progressions for me was I actually started trying to speak with a Thai accent. And
that was my next thing.
Yeah,
you've almost got to sound racist.
Yes,
yeah. What you do, you've almost got you got to speak through your nose. You got to try and sound like you've got and
that's all right. I'll have to beep.
That's going to sound better than it was then.
Yeah.
You've got to try and put on the sound to be Asian. I don't talk like this when I speak Thai. Sawadee krap. I speak like that.
Yeah. Cup home. Yeah. I mean that's it. Some people would be like, "Oh, that's racist," but
it's not. But that's how they speak.
That's how you speak.
It's like people who call Rotang.
Yeah.
It's not his name.
No.
He's not going to answer to you. You talk to a Thai and say, "Oh, Rotang's fine," and they're like, "Who?" Because it's not his name.
No.
You might think, "Oh, it doesn't matter. It's just a different sound." No, it's in the language, the way it's written. Rotang and Rotang are very different.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the other things is that when you look at English phonetics, the Romanized version of Thai, there's no one standardized version.
There's not, and that's okay as well. But the thing is, do people listen then?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like, the people listen when someone's, like, saying it correctly.
Yeah.
Obviously, me and Andy Parnham Andy probably gets picked on a little bit more by Sai than I do for saying the names right, you know, like, it's, you know, like Kong Thailand. Like, that's his name.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, it's, for me, I would love to hear people at least try to say it right.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like, I know they're hard. Duong Dao Nai. Duong Dao Nai. It's like, you know, like, it's the difference between Duong Dao Nai, Duong Dao Nai. They're different.
Yeah, yeah. The tones is a tricky one.
Yeah. But you've got to, and the only way to do it is by listening,
then
try and mimic it.
Yep.
Yeah, be a birdie.
And I think one thing is people can't be afraid to make mistakes. If Thais laugh at you,
They will laugh. They'll laugh even if you say it right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Until you get good.
Yeah.
And then they're like, why you speak Thai so good?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Oh,
ทำไมพูดไทยเก่งจัง
yeah. ทำไมพูดชัดมากอ่ะ Yeah. Why do you speak so well?
Yeah.
But you know what the other funny thing is like when they say, "Oh, คุณพูดชัดมาก," like they'll just say that as like a cute thing. They don't actually think you speak Thai really well.
Yeah, this is a lot of the time. Oh, and you know, without sound like I do speak Thai that well.
Yeah.
Like why do you speak Thai so good? Oh, I was born here. Like, that's literally my reply.
Yeah.
Because I actually don't take too well to the compliment.
Yeah.
It's like, I do know I speak really good Thai.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's like, this story again.
Well, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like the whole, how long have you lived here? I'm like, I don't. I did live here. But that story goes too long as well. So it's just like, about 20 years. Oh, that's why you speak good Thai.
So, well, that was one of the things I was avoiding on this podcast was the origin story. Because I think
it's been told.
It's been told. I actually wanted to pick your brain about a few issues. Like language, Sak Yant was one of them. The next one was something I think you talk about a lot is running.
Yep.
Running for Muay Thai. A lot of people avoid running in Muay Thai.
Because it's not needed for fitness. Man, I've got a gym full of broken people that actually can't run.
Yep.
Like, and can you get by without running? Absolutely.
No.
Should you run? Yes, you should. Yeah. Like, I've got one dude whose knees are a mess from playing soccer for years. Man, he's young, but his knees are bad. So, all right, you're on the exercise bike and get on that, warm up, and then you can do your skipping and whatever. Are you better off running? Like, for your leg conditioning, to be able to stand there strong, take leg kicks? Man, absolutely. Like, I remember at one stage I was running 18 kilometres a day. On the way here, I actually went down one of the roads to come running. That was when I was at Bangkok Stadium that used to be around the corner.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So we used to run at the intersection there, turn left, go back down. And when I was running that many kilometres, was the only time in my career that I could actually take leg kicks. I'd do 12 Ks in the morning, 6 Ks in the afternoon. And my legs were so strong. Like, man, I'm skinny. I was a skinny boy, you know? So taking leg kicks is never good for the skinny guys.
Yep.
Man, I could take them all day long at that when I was running that much. I was stable. Like, you know, you hit me in the body and boom, I'm not getting pushed over because my legs are weak. There's a lot of things that come along with it. Man, is it pseudoscience? Possibly, but everyone should feel better when they run.
The Thais have been doing it for 100 years. Why shouldn't you?
Yeah. I do totally agree. There's overdoing it sometimes. You know, back in the day, there used to be one gym down towards where I used to live every morning, 20 kilometres in a sauna suit. Everyone. Yeah. Like, every morning, like, that is just stupid. And then come back to the gym and do some other work.
Yeah. And if there's one thing I can critique some people here is they don't drink enough water.
Bro.
Yeah.
Bro, like, I don't know. Like, end of my career, I started drinking water.
Yeah.
But my career probably would have been longer if I had been drinking my whole career because my body broke.
Yeah.
Like, pretty significantly in the end. And now I still have dramas because of it now.
Yeah, I think that's I mean,
I drink a lot of water now, but
you look at the end of my career was pretty terrible. It was because I was cutting way too much weight, and because my brain wasn't hydrated and getting knocked out. Like,
yeah, man, I was there for the last one.
That's right. That's
yeah.
right. Yeah. No, just cutting too much weight, not drinking enough water.
Yeah,
and
that's the thing with cutting weight. Like, if you're doing the right things by your body and drinking enough water every day, you can cut weight.
Yeah.
And some people can cut a lot of weight. But if you're not drinking enough water every day, your water loading is going to be everything it takes to actually do that water cut is going to be so, and you'll get a more realistic figure of what your body actually, you're not going to be heavier because you drink more water.
Yep.
Your body's going to know what it's doing, and your body's going to make better choices for itself to make sure that you're the size you should be. A lot of people drink a lot of water, man, they get lighter.
Yep.
Why? Because their organs are working, everything's pumping, flushing stuff out, get rid of toxins, they're pooing better, they're peeing clear instead of orange. Yep. You know, they're doing the right things by their body. And, man, getting hit in the body because you're dehydrated, that sucks. That body shot to the liver, man, is like 10 times worse when you're dehydrated. Drink lots of water.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. If you want to stay alive,
and there's such thing as too much too.
Oh,
that's the thing.
Yeah. That's find the balance. What's right for you. Yeah.
Like, the thing is, the actual non-exercising number is 1 litre per 33 kilos. That's what every average Joe should be drinking per day in a 24-hour period. You shouldn't drink overnight.
Yep.
You should be hydrated when you go to bed, and in the morning you should be starting fresh.
Okay.
That's actually a thing. Like, I can't remember the science. Man, that was 20 years ago. I can't remember the science behind the not drinking through the night time. You should be drinking room temperature water.
Yep.
Cold water doesn't absorb. You'll pee most of it out.
Yep.
When you're sweating every day, you need electrolytes. You need salts.
I always start the morning with a packet of electrolytes.
Cool. Yeah, man. I drink. I'm a bit of a bigger boy, and I sauna every day.
Yep.
So I drink about 4 litres of water a day, probably, and I put like Celtic salt in.
Oh, nice.
In all my water.
Yep.
Does it taste good? Nah. Does it matter? Nah. It's about doing the right things by your body, you know?
That's right.
People are way too worried about how something tastes. Man, do the right things by your body.
Yeah. I mean, Muay Thai is a hard sport. And it's one of the hardest sports you'll ever do.
Yep.
But you got to make those sacrifices.
Yeah.
Taste is one of them.
And on the hard thing, it's physically hard. If it's mentally hard for you, you're not in the right sport.
Yep.
Or you need to find a way to make it less mentally hard for yourself. Like, speak to the right people to retrain your brain.
Yeah.
Because it's people in there doing it, not getting the results they should be getting for the effort they're putting in. That's then it's just a physical thing, right?
Yeah.
The mental game is really important.
Yeah, it's
more important.
Something I've been talking with to a lot of athletes lately. A lot of athletes are actually getting mental coaches.
So they should.
Yeah, sports mindset coaches.
Yep.
Really interesting to see people outsource things like that.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, if I had things like that at my disposal when I was fighting, I would be a completely different athlete. Besides all the partying and the food that I ate after fights.
Bro, I'm the same though. Like, I was not a very tough guy. Like, mentally tough. Like, and it all came back to, man, I just need to learn how to love myself.
Yeah.
And now that I do, everything's so much easier.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like, I haven't fought in 11 years. My body's broken. I could do 5 rounds. Why? Because when I'm in there, I need to do the 5 rounds. You know, I've had fights where I've looked for an exit. Like, I've stayed in there to get copper beating, but I didn't know any better at the time. I didn't have someone saying, man, like, why are you not putting in? Like, why are you not trying to fight back?
Yeah.
You've got the heart to finish the fight. You're already in there. Why aren't you just doing it? You know, these are the words that I use on my guys because that's kind of what I needed at the time.
Yeah.
I didn't have the biggest ticker, and, man, I'd probably say a third of my losses probably shouldn't have been.
Yep.
Maybe even more than that. If I'd gone into it actually appreciating myself and respecting myself. And, you know, you can't change what your past is and why you're the way you are, but you can change the way you are.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, if you just go, oh man, it's just the cards I've been dealt, you got an excuse, you'll never be your best you anyway. You might as well just quit.
That's what, you know, it's interesting, like you say that, you know, you can't change your past. That's why I do a lot of the stuff that I'm doing now, is so that fighters don't have to make the same mistakes that I've made. And I would say that's probably a reason why you do a lot of
For
stuff.
sure. And it's also why I don't, my secret, my life isn't a secret. If you don't know, like, I used a lot of like, and the same reason why I didn't do too well in fighting is because I didn't love myself. That's why I used there is no escape. At the end of the day, there is no escaping yourself. The only way to escape the pain is to deal with it. So I tell my story to everyone, anyone who will listen. One, holds me accountable. I know I don't have to worry about ever going back to that life. I know 100%. But when other people know, it gives the people who love me a little bit more confidence that there's more people watching me as well. Like, maybe people don't know as well as I do that I'm done. You know? That I'm fine. I love myself now. I love myself enough to look after myself. And same with anyone out there, if you're keeping your stuff, whatever has happened in your life, a secret, man, you're hurting you.
Absolutely,
if the people who judge you, that's all right. You turn your back and you walk away. You never have to talk to them again. Find the people that actually care about you enough to listen to your story. Don't get that confused with being a whinging turd, because nobody just wants someone who tells the story and then does nothing about it. So many people will say, oh man, I need help. Man, you've done nothing that I've suggested on how to get sober. I don't get emotionally invested in people who come to me for sobriety tips. Because it ain't worth it for me. Because that's on them. Like I said to you earlier, we were talking about stuff, and I was saying, when people use the word trying, I'm trying to quit something. No, you just already set it up for a failure.
So just do it.
I'm quitting. Whether it's anything, man, it could be, a big one I talk about is video games. Man, that stuff fries your brain like does. It's dopamine overload. If that's your addiction, don't think you're playing video games, I just like it. Man, go without it and see how you feel. Are you urged to go back to it?
A lot of guys, any vices,
even mass, just whatever it is, man. Like, it could be just, addiction to doing the same process every day of your life. You've got to be uncomfortable, and you're not going to be uncomfortable while you're.
And you've got to hold yourself accountable too.
Yeah, man, which is another reason why I talk about it. Like, just don't hate yourself. We all make really bad decisions in life. All of us.
And I think that's one thing people forget, is that you're human. That's part of the human condition. Even if you're spiritual or not, one of the things, part of us, is that you're not perfect. We're made not to be perfect.
100%.
Like, if you look at how complex the brain is, how complex the human physiology is, it's amazing that you and I are even able to lift weights, walk, eat food. Imagine all the things that can go wrong. So we're made not to be perfect. So don't beat yourself up about when you do bad things.
And I think one of the reasons why people want to be perfect is because that's the narrative that's put out there. But it starts from such a young age, like with forcing kids through the education system to be in a box. Everyone's exactly the same, and if you're not doing that, then you're failing. And you grow older and you're like, oh God, I'm not doing good enough. Well, who says you're not doing good enough? Because you haven't bought a house, or the amount of people who ask, man, why don't you want to buy a house? Because I don't want to. I don't fit in a box. I tried to when I was younger. Tried to fit in that box, and I hated myself for it. So it's, I don't think we're made to be this stimulated. There's so much going on that everyone's addicted to that stimulation, overstimulation. It's why everyone's stuck in their phone. It's why everyone's on playing video games, or whatever they're doing, or doing extreme sports or whatever it is, you've got to be making conscious decisions to do it, not because you're trying to escape.
And I think that's an important aspect of our sport as well. I think people need to use Muay Thai to better their lives, not as a form of escapism. Because that leads down to a very dangerous road.
Yes. Because you get to a point where, all right, it's time to retire.
Yep.
What do you do now? Bro.
Yep.
Exactly, bro. Man, I went straight from being a fighter into being a trainer in Thailand. Things were going great. My relationship ended, and that was the thing. That was the thing holding me together. Yep. I didn't realise. I thought it was me doing it.
Yep.
But it wasn't. It was the fact I was doing it for someone else.
Yep.
Then boom, straight back to it. And it was the same thing. I was bored. I didn't have the stimulation that I had as a fighter.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a 100% thing. You got to do Muay Thai for the right reasons.
You got to have a retirement plan, and you got to be comfortable with that ending.
Yep.
And you can't just keep going and going and going, and you see it. People go for too long.
Absolutely.
That lose their legacy.
Yep. Absolutely. That's. I think if you can take away one thing from this is, fighters, you need to think about what you're going to do when the lights turn off.
Yep.
Because, I mean, you've probably struggled with it. I've struggled with it.
You know what? The minute I hung up my gloves,
Yeah.
I've never been hungry for it again.
Really?
Never once. I've almost jumped in a few times. I was like at a fight show and with the Luxay Kongdin family, and someone hadn't rocked up.
Yep.
And they're like, man, I still take my mouth guard to every show, like in Thailand.
Yeah.
I'd still jump. I almost jumped in last weekend, actually.
Yeah.
But I haven't fought in 11 years, so it's been kind of lucky. But I was at this show, and he's like, man, I need someone to fight this foreigner. You know, I'm like, oh, yeah, where is he? He's like a 98-kilo Russian. And I was like, oh, yeah, right. Like, he was pretty fresh.
Yeah.
And I was, washed up. I was like, yeah, right. Then they were wrapping my hands. And then a Thai rocked up who'd had like 300 fights and weighed about 90 kilos.
Sweet.
And they're like, oh, we're going to put him in instead. I'm like, awesome. I don't need your 300 baht, but thanks.
Yeah.
So it was, it's being comfortable with it, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I think people need to be comfortable with the fact that it is going to end one day.
Yeah.
I mean, I struggled with it. As soon as it turned off, I went to drinking and...
Because you were, and this is where people go wrong, Joe Comerford, the fighter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And take me away from Muay Thai pre-lockdowns and stuff, I would probably have been broken.
Yep.
Now I'm quite comfortable. I could walk away from Muay Thai tomorrow and not have a problem.
Yep.
I'm not Pinky the Muay Thai guy. I'm Pinky.
Yep.
And you've got to remember at the end of the day, like, it is ending. It's not a forever thing. Being a fighter is not a forever thing.
Yep.
Muay Thai can be your forever thing. But you need to know, where's your outlet going to be? Like, how are you going to fill that void? Or are you okay with no longer having that adrenaline rush? I was perfectly fine with it. I didn't realise how much of an adrenaline rush I get as a trainer, which is fantastic. Like, I have way more fun as a trainer than I did as a fighter.
Yeah.
Like, the days when I was on and felt good before a fight, and like, we go back to that, should have worked on myself and, figured out all that stuff a lot earlier. But the days when I was feeling good, man, I had a ball in there. Yeah. But they were few and far between. And that's where, you say you're doing this now to help the next people not make your mistakes. Same thing. I should have got my mental coaching stuff. I should have had all that. I would have been good, man. Yeah. I would have been known as a fighter. Yeah. No one knows me as a fighter. That's the thing. Like, why? Because I wasn't very good. Could I have been? Absolutely, I could have been. I had all the tools. Yep. And I had all the opportunities. I knew all the right people. I was training at all the right gyms. I had all of it. But I didn't have the mental game. Yep. I didn't know it was even a thing that you could get better. Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean that is also
But no regrets. Zero.
That's awesome.
Zero regrets in my life.
That's awesome.
Zero. That's sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
If you regret something in your life, you are, once again, attachment. You cannot attached to regret, to something you wish you'd done, sorry, but you are not moving forward like ever. You're stuck there. You can't change it. You can't. Yeah, sorry, you messed up your career early and you missed the good years. I missed the good years taking like with most of the time it was just prescription meds, thinking I was doing okay, but I missed out on so many opportunities because of it.
Yep.
When people go, oh no, we've got someone, that's all right. I know now the reason.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't reliable. I was always rocking up. I didn't pull out of many fights, like maybe 2 or 3 from injuries or something. But who was rocking up on the day?
Yeah.
And as a fighter, if you're not rocking up every time you fight, you need to do something.
Yeah.
Something needs to get sorted. If you can't go, this is my job, and I'm going to prepare for this fight the same as I prepare for the fights that I want to prepare for.
Yeah.
Even if it's one that you don't want to prepare for. Yeah. You see that a lot now. It's like, I'm really feeling this one, and they go out there and weapon. And then they go home and, don't want any expectations. Don't want anyone to think I'm good, so I'll have a good one every now and then.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I deal with that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's a pretty common thing through Muay Thai.
It's very common now anyway. Like, it's very common in this, the next generation of people, they're not tough. So if you're not tough, then you need to do the training to create some mental toughness, and then use whether it be your sensitive side or whatever it is, to be technical, to be smart.
Yep.
Because there's a place for it. And now you're going to see this next generation, there's going to be so many more female guys than there's ever been before.
Yeah.
Because there's less people that want to be, what's the word, like in your face.
Yeah. There's a lot less people who want to stand and bang and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It's an interesting development of, like talking about psychology and how the sport will develop over the next 2 years. I think the next 2 years is going to be a real weird place.
There's going to be fireworks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be like, and not always the good ones. There's going to be the ones that don't quite take off high enough and they blow up in the crowd.
Oh, thank you, Pinky. It was good to pick your brain for
Thanks for having me.
A little bit. I mean, next time you come, we'll definitely have to do another longer podcast.
Yeah, sick.
Hopefully I'll have some better equipment and can go it on for 3 hours.
Yes.
Oh, mate, that was a really interesting chat.
Cool.
So thank you for coming on and talking about your passions and your past, and able to sort of delve through some of the tougher topics of the world of Muay Thai. Thank you very much. If you would like to like, share and subscribe this episode, this is Pinky from Team Pinky Gym.
Team Pinky Muay Thai, and can I give my podcast a plug?
Yes, go give your podcast
Ring Lovers podcast, out every Monday. We're up to like 101 episodes.
And where can people find you on Instagram?
Just at Team Pinky Muay Thai, with underscores between each word. I don't know how you describe that.
I will put in the description below.
And the Ring Lovers podcast.
And the Ring Lovers podcast, of course.
Yep.
I'm Joe Comerford. This is
Pinky Donald.
Okay, thank you very much. This episode is available on YouTube and Spotify. Peace out.